Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel lines on my Echo PB200, but this applies to most other Echoes as well, as they do utilize the same fuel grommet system, and they are pretty easy to change. So here's everything that you're going to need: a Phillips head screwdriver, a pair of needle nose pliers, these are very easy to change, and your fuel line kit, which is kit number 90098. I got this one on eBay. Home Depot is out of stock, so eBay was my best bet because Parts Tree was a little bit more expensive, but I didn't mind the wait. It took about a week to come in, and it's here, so we'll get to changing them. Now, I have already removed my old lines. It's not very hard to do. All that you have to do is actually take a pair of needle nose pliers, disconnect the lines from the carburetor, pull them out, and squeeze in between the holes on the grommet and pull the grommet out as well. It'll come right out. Just do not, and I repeat, do not take a flathead and pry it underneath the grommet. No matter how hard it is to wrestle out, you'll eventually get it. But I'm just saying that because I've had past experiences with other machinery and it didn't come out too good. So I'm just saying, do not use a flathead and pry underneath, because you could damage the tank and it could create a gas tank leak. So anyways, we'll first start off with removing the tank. There's actually just two Phillips head screws underneath. As you can see, there's one right in here. There's also another one on this side. You got to remove those. So we'll remove these. It's good to have a magnetic tip screwdriver so you don't lose your parts. The whole fuel tank should just come right off now, and we'll get to installing the fuel lines. Alright, so this part right here is the only part that you're going to need from your old fuel assembly. It's like a brass pin, and it connects two fuel lines to it. Alright, so we'll start by opening up the kit. Open it up this way so you don't lose all the parts. They're nice and inside the plastic container there. Now these are all the parts that the kit comes with. This is the grommet, this is the primer line, this is the breather. Now these two lines here have to be connected. That's where this brass bushing comes in. Basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to force one end into that line, and you're also going to want to force the rest of it into this line. Now make sure you get it in there pretty good, and you may want to spray some lube to this, and maybe some silicone lube, or maybe some seafoam or WD-40, something of that nature. There we go. Now we're going to put the fuel line through the grommet. You may want to spray a little bit more assembly lube on the end of the fuel line so it can slide through the grommet easier. I notice that helps a lot. After you get it started, you can just pull it through with no problems. Just pull it up to about the same height until you feel that little brass pin go through there. That's perfect. Now you're going to want to take your fuel tank, push the fuel filter through first, make sure it goes down towards the back of the tank. Now you're going to want to push your grommet on. It may take a little bit of force, but try to go from one side at a time. And if that doesn't work, just try pushing down and twisting at the same time. There we go. See? Now it's finally on. And once you've got it, you can turn it towards whichever direction you want. Alright, so what I've noticed is it is a lot easier to do if you remove the carburetor, just because you have more room, and I wouldn't really recommend doing this if you're just a novice or a beginner, but let's see what happens. We're gonna remove these two Phillips head screws, and this should set the backing to the carburetor free, as well as loosen the carburetor. Now we have the carburetor free, we can do what we want, and let's get back to the fuel tank. So this top line here is your pulse line. You can see when you press it, it squirts fuel out. That goes to the shorter line, which is the yellow line. This line here goes to the black line, which goes to the fuel filter. And there we go. Now if your gasket flew off like mine did, just put it back in place when you go to assemble the unit.